Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Inslee, and this is the Better and Badder podcast, a podcast dedicated to your self improvement and you getting better and badder. So, today's episode is romance to reality. Romance to reality. That is a big one for a lot of women, a lot of people in general, is bringing things that you romanticize into your real life. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. And before I get started, I want to just say, quick idea. I want to start calling these episodes where I'm by myself on the inside with Ins, because I'm Inslee and I'm just kind of giving you an insight to me and my personal story and my journey. So let's get into it. Romance to reality. All right. My background with this is I was one of those people that was always very romantic, very much a lover girl, a little bit head in the clouds. I don't know. I'm a very optimistic person and I always am like hoping for the best, but that doesn't always work out for you. And so part of my success and part of my journey has been figuring out how to bring things that I romanticize into fruition. So that's what this episode is all about, is how to bring things that we want for ourselves into our real lives and into our actual lives where it's fruitful and it's something that we can have that's real to us. Romance to reality. So, the theme of the day is clarity. Why clarity? Well, I really feel like the thing that helped me, I won't even say helped me, the thing that saved me along the way was realizing nobody was coming to save me. It was just straight up having a moment of clarity and knowing that it's up to me. So by the end of this episode, with these strategies, I think you guys are going to be able to walk away from this and say that you can bring things that you romanticize and things that you felt were far-fetched for you into your reality. I think that I romanticize being partnered and being in a partnership. And I think this is something that most of us want, right? Like most of us want to be in some kind of a partnership or relationship. And I am an only child. Like I grew up, doing everything by myself. So that was something that I always felt like, oh, if I have this, like I'll have a teammate and I'll be on a team with someone. And I always, as the only child, wanted to be partnered. But somebody brought into my mind a really good point one day. And they said to me, what if you never got the thing that you wanted? Who would you be? What would you do? What would you have? And so that made me realize that even though that is the ultimate thing that I want and want to work towards, it's got to be more than that. Like I have to have a fulfilling life that is filled with more things than that, because what if it doesn't happen, right? We hate to think this way, but I think there's also a healthy essence of, okay, I need to build my life out. I need to build the things out that if I don't get something I want, that I still have enough other things going on that I'm happy about too. So how do we bring these romanticized expectations into our real life? How do we make it real for us? I think something that a lot of people think is, oh, well, if I just had this job, everything would be perfect. Or if I was with this person, or if I had that car, if I was in this type of a relationship, or if I moved to that city. A lot of us think that way. I've had these thoughts, even myself, but these thoughts can honestly be paralyzing. Unfortunately, we think that it's a way that motivates us, but what really ends up happening sometimes is that this dream is something that we put on a pedestal. And when we put it too high up on that pedestal, we make it feel like something that we can't reach. The easiest way to remind yourself that that thing you're romanticizing isn't so far away is to just start doing the work. Start with the baby steps. The baby steps turn into milestones, and then the milestones turn into accomplishments. Doing the work makes it more real. It brings it into the now. So it's not just this far off, oh, well, if I had that job, okay, what if you started getting some small experiences to build up to that job? It won't feel like something that you can't do. And other people won't look at it as something you can't do. You'll have similar experiences to lean on. You'll have other things to say, well, I've done something similar. I've done something smaller and close. And it won't be just a romanticized idea. It'll be something that you can do. If it's a relationship, oh, I want this kind of relationship or this kind of person. Are you doing the work? Are you making space for that type of person to be in your life? Or are you just saying, oh, well, I hope the perfect person comes and shows up and just fits right in, right? There's levels to this. And part of the levels is making those baby steps. It's making those small little things along the way a reality instead of just saying, oh, well, I hope I get it. I hope it'll just fall into my lap. Because that's the reality for most of us, is that we have to work. Things don't fall into our lap. But if you do the work, it's not so far away. So the first part is taking those romantic expectations and turning them into a reality, just starting by doing the work. And I feel like you're doing the work just by being here, just by listening. The next part is turning your dreams into practical plans. When we're ready to start doing the work, we have to figure out how to approach it. And in my opinion, the best way to approach it is to do it in the rule of three. I like to make everything 3 small steps. So we're going to make this 3 small steps. So step 1, identify your dream. Step 2, break it into smaller, actionable steps. And then step 3, give yourself a timeline to measure your success. So a cute story that really inspired me to be able to do this was, I heard this from a little girl. There was a class full of kids that got to hear from an astronaut. And the astronaut basically was telling them how to become an astronaut. And all these kids were so amazing. They were like, oh my gosh. And one little girl was just completely unfazed and was like, well, that's only 3 things. And everybody was like, huh? And she's like, yeah, you just said 3 things. You said learn math and science, become healthy, pass a test to become an astronaut. That's only 3 things. And it revolutionized the way that I approach everything. Everything is really probably just 3 things. Get healthy. Yes, that's more than one step, but that's one chunk of it. Then step 2, learning the math and science. That's a lot of college, a PhD, a whole lot of other stuff, but you're not going to do it all at once. You take it semester by semester. That's its own chunk. And then step 3, passing the astronaut test. You look up, okay, what do I need to do? How do I pass the test? And you put in the work and you do that. But it's breaking those things into the smaller chunks that makes it so much easier. So I think that little story of the girl wanting to become an astronaut, or just saying it was easy to become an astronaut, kind of reminded me of the Elwoods getting into Harvard. What? Like, it's hard? But that's how you bring your romance into reality. Then we're going to get into the last part. As you're bringing your romance into reality, one thing you want to focus on is staying present. And the easiest way to do that is by celebrating the small wins as you go. A lot of times, I think people don't hear, I'm proud of you, enough. And so we have to tell it to ourselves. We must make time. We must make space to celebrate our wins along the way. In every episode, I like to give some strategies. So I think this is the perfect time to jump into a strategy. Today, you will need a mirror for this strategy. So it's really, really easy. All I want you to do is sit in front of a mirror and tell yourself the things that you need to hear. I am proud of myself. I am capable of facing this challenge. I am growing and improving every day. I am getting better and better. Sit in the mirror and tell yourself those things that you need to hear. It might be a little bit uncomfortable at first because scientifically, they say that it actually does something to rewire your brain, almost as if you are sitting with an opposite person. So you have a moment to look at your body language, and you have to face your emotions. You have to face the way that you're displaying your emotions. But what this does is it improves your self-awareness, and it actually boosts your confidence and your self-esteem. But the trick to this is you have to say positive affirmations in the mirror. You can't say negative things to yourself in the mirror because it is going to damage your psyche even more than another person saying it to you. So you have to say positive things. And I would even take this a step further and say, give yourself some permission. If you want to take it a step further, think of something that you really, really fear, or you really, really are afraid of doing. I am afraid of not knowing something. I'm afraid of making mistakes. So for this exercise, when you sit in the mirror, you would look at yourself and you would tell yourself, I give myself permission to not know. I give myself permission today to make mistakes. It's going to sound weird. It's going to feel weird because these are probably things that either someone hasn't told you or maybe we haven't heard enough. So seeing it and hearing it and feeling it from yourself is a really, really, really big confidence booster. It is going to help you guys visualize. Oh, and let's do a visualization one, taking it even a step further. If you have something big coming up, and I love to do this when I have to do public speaking, I visualize myself speaking well in front of that crowd. I visualize myself being calm and cool and collected. And then I tell myself, I am going to do well with this presentation. By the time that I get to that moment, I've already visualized myself and coached myself through it enough that usually that kind of helps. Mirror exercises, there's a bunch of different ways you can do them. Those are a couple of the different ways that I like to talk to myself in the mirror, but always talk to yourself kindly and take some time to celebrate your wins and talk to yourself in the mirror and congratulate yourself. The mirror exercise is really important because you guys have to remember the journey is a part of the success. It's not just about the outcome. It is actually the small wins along the way and all the things we learn along the way that are actually the largest part of our success, more so than the times that people are clapping for us and celebrating us. I love when I do something well and people congratulate me on it, and it does feel really good. It's amazing. But in reality, the thing that makes me the most proud is knowing the sleepless nights that I put in. It's knowing the times that the plans changed and I was able to adjust quickly and I handled it well. Those are the things that are the real successes. Those are the things where you really grow. And those moments where other people clap for you, at this point for me, it's kind of like, I'm happy I can make you guys happy. I'm happy that you guys are happy about it, but I'm proud of all that other work that I put in. And so I encourage you guys to bring your romance into reality by looking at those expectations and making them something real. Turn those dreams into plans and chunk it into 3 small steps. And last but not least, celebrate your wins along the way. I hope that those of you that are dreamers just like me can bring some of those dreams into reality with these steps. And just by listening to this, you're already doing what you can to get better and better. And I know that those dreams are going to come true. So what's one dream that you're ready to make real? Start small, but start today. And you've already started just by listening to this podcast. So take the next small step. Leave me a comment and let me know what your dream is and what you're going to do to get started on it, because you're already on your path towards getting better and better.